Willits Unified School District is called to order at 4 o'clock. So roll call, Mrs. Nunez.
Here.
Mrs. Lampridge.
Here.
Ms. Sipke.
Here.
Myself, Mrs. King, is here, and Mr. Loper is not in attendance yet. Okay, so are there any changes to the agenda?
At this particular time, President King, the agenda is fine with me. No additional changes.
Okay, great, simple. Okay, so we need a motion to adopt the agenda.
I move that we adopt the agenda.
A second. Thank you. Okay, so we now,
Vote.
oh, I'm sorry, thank you, vote. So
Sorry.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So,
good.
closed session is now called at 4:01.
Gotta hit the gavel.
Huh?
Get the gavel.
The regular
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Something you need to know about me is I've run special ed meetings for 20 years. Okay, so Superintendent Sipke, would you please report out of closed session?
He sort of got it.
Trustee.
No, but she needs him. Superintendent Dickey.
Yes, what,
I'm sorry,
I'm talking to our
Superintendent
student rep.
Dickey is
What's
what I
up? What's going on? Am I missing something?
Yes.
Oh, yes, we voted on the item, and it was approved. You guys see my closed session, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Yes. It's been a while since I've been here, so I'm a little hang with me. Okay?
Okay, thank you. I won't read the full extent of these, but I'll just address them. Is that we operate by government's norms. In the board meeting, we agreed to act with dignity, respect differences, build trust, work as a team, engage the public, focus on the success of every student, and work together for the common good. So we have some informational items tonight. So the first informational item we have is Matt, would you close that door, please?
Good evening, everyone. How are you? Good to see all of you. You want me to go first?
Yes.
Okay. Where do you want to go?
I'll go first.
I will be, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Margaret Duran. I'm the principal of Gloucester, and I am recognizing 3 classified employees who are not here. Which I am unfortunately not surprised they're like, well, we're still honoring. The first, so I will be taking their certificates back to work. The first is Maggie Bertolino, who is currently a behavioral tech at Gloucester. She has worked with Willits Unified School District for 13 years, and she is currently a behavioral tech at Gloucester Lane. I have had the pleasure of working closely with Maggie for the last 4 years. Maggie leads with her heart. Everything she does at work comes from her heart. She cares deeply about students, and she supports and make sure their needs are met. Many Gloucester students are very connected to her, come to her regularly. Many of them expressed that they will miss her next year, and we all will at Gloucester. Maggie, they have, she shares an office with a counselor that I share with Brookside, and like if you, it's room 2 if you're ever at Gloucester. It's always open, and the space is like something out of like a fairyland. Like she has just created such a special space for students to come in, to re-regulate, or for some students take a break, so there's a table that they can do activities at with friends. But that's just how she is. Any space that she's in, she really just creates a community for students to be a part of. So she's the first retiree that I'm honoring. The second is Cindy Campbell. Cindy has worked for Willits Unified School District for 20 years. She is currently at Gloucester, one of our cafeteria staff, serving snacks, brunch, and lunch to Gloucester students every day. If you have ever met Cindy, the first thing you will notice is her welcoming smile and her soft-spoken voice. She is caring and supportive when it comes to the needs of our students, and is happy, and as happy as I am to see her move on to the next phase of her life, I'm also a tad jealous, and Gloucester's sad to see her go. And our last honoree is Cindy Conberry. She has worked for the district for 38 years as a paraprofessional at Gloucester Lane. And if you know Cindy, she will tell you like it is. Most, if not all of our students and parents who have lived here have had her as a para at Gloucester. She has adorned all of the halls of Gloucester, and I was lucky enough to work with Cindy. She was my paraprofessional in my classroom my first 2 years of teaching, and like I would not have made it through those first 2 years if it was not for her. I shared her with Janice Haschek, and it was a very big transition year my first year. I had 2 different principals, and both who were very new to the game, so there was a lot going on administratively, and as a new teacher, just like getting the lay of the land, and Cindy would just be like, this is how, we set up our reading circles, and and just all the knowledge that she brought into the classroom, I just am so appreciative for, and have so much respect for the work that she's done with our students. And so, yes, those are honorees at Gloucester.
So we have 3 retirees from Brookside. The principal from Brookside, unfortunately Dr. Crossman, is tending to some health needs that she has. So Ms. Sanchez and Ms. Rimple, please, come on up. I want you to stand right here, and I will stand right next to you and talk to you. Okay? And I'll be somewhat embarrassed to say that. So congratulations, first off. Thank you. Thank you. So we'll talk about Ms. Rimple first. So this is coming from Dr. Crossman. Tammy has a heart for teaching students to read, and she shines the brightest when she is patiently and kindly supporting small groups of students who need extra practice to build their skills. Standing quality. She is extremely competent and passionate, so she takes the task of maintaining our book rooms on her. For years, like Sherlock Holmes, she has meticulously tracked down every single lost reading book, finding them in the strangest locations and ensuring that they are sorted and ready for the next group of students. Tammy's heart is as big as the book room, and she will be missed every day. We love you, Tammy. Thank you for all the wisdom that you share with your young learners and with us over the past 26 years. Congratulations. Ms. Sanchez, Maria's passion and love for our students is well known around Brookside. Sure, I'm not going to bite. As our bilingual instructional assistant, Maria is especially drawn to our English learners. She makes their lives easier and makes school more accessible and fun for them each and every day. Way to go. This connection brings first thing every morning as she opens car doors and greets students and families in both English and Spanish. Maria supports students who are learning English as they work in small groups to read, as they eat in the cafeteria, and play in the yard, helping each to navigate language barriers and to build lasting friendships. Thank you, Maria, for 21 years of faithful support to our Brookside Littles and their families. We love you and wish you all the best in your next future. Well done. Congratulations. worked with Dr. Crossman for 3 years now. I consider her to be one of the finest elementary principals that I've ever known. Her passion, and it's a lot of a common theme, passion for students, her attention to detail, and just her unwavering support for the process of education. Okay? I can't even imagine. I go over to Brookside all the time just because it always gives you like a little ego boost, because all I want to do is climb all over me like a cat toy. Okay, so it's really kind of a lot of fun, but you can see Kathy's like ability to not only connect with the students but also teach them at very formative ages. How did we move on to the Blosser Lane School, Blosser Lane School? So Kathy will be definitely missed, and we're excited about her moving on to the next chapter of her life, and then also embracing Diane Johnson. She could do that. So think about Kathy as she sits in her house with her hand up in the air. She's got to thank you again, and I get some certificates. Hold on. Here you go. There you go.
Okay, so now I believe we're going to recognize the student board member, Shiloh.
All right.
We gotta get our practice process down.
All right. So these are the things that the teacher wrote about it, as well as various people on our site. Shiloh Moyer is a bright, capable, and engaged WHS senior who has served with distinction as a school board representative. We recognize her intelligence, maturity, and unwavering commitment to excellence in all areas of school life. As both a scholar and an athlete, she excelled in the classroom and on the volleyball court, consistently leading by example and embracing challenges with grace and determination. Her strong interest in current events, political issues, and public policy, particularly Supreme Court cases, have been evident through her thoughtful contributions and insightful connections between course content and the world beyond high school. Her teachers note that regardless of what complications life throws her way, she demonstrates an extraordinary ability to show up, follow through, and do what needs to be done. She is known for being impeccable with her word, bringing a steady, tranquil presence to every space she inhabits. That calm strength paired with her ambition and integrity reflects the very best of our school. Watching her grow in a thoughtful leader and compassionate change maker has been an honor. We are very proud to celebrate all that Shiloh has accomplished and look forward with confidence and admiration to all that lies ahead. And I'd like to add also that always with a smile and just a hello and a kindness. So Shiloh, thank you very much for serving on board this year. We look forward to seeing all that you accomplish.
Right, we have 2 championship teams to recognize, girls soccer and also golf. And I believe there was another team that they thought was going to be a championship, but points were reconfigured and they lost by nothing.
Yeah, I can talk about that really quick. My name is Matt Marotti. I'm one of the athletic directors at the high school. And yeah, we have 3 sports, actually 3 spring sports. Actually, sorry, swim was, they got the pennant and they actually beat everybody in the league, but then they compiled the championship score, and it turns out they took the pennant away from them because they lost by half a point. So we wanted to recognize swim. Christina is the only one that showed up today. So. And I do want to say that I also entered them for the academic award, for the team award, and they wouldn't have gotten it, but because they have 7 athletes, you have to have 9 athletes to get that team award. So they would have gotten it. The swim?
Yeah.
Oh, there?
Yeah.
Say whatever you want.
To the front.
What, everybody? Okay, yeah, let's get everybody.
To the front, Elizabeth team.
Let's go.
I just wanted to say something. Officially, you may take away your win, but as far as we're concerned, we're celebrating with the kids.
And one more thing, there's 7 girls on the team, and the team they lost to at half a point had 16 girls, so it's the compiled points. So they did really well, really successful season. And then one sport that was actually in the spring that got missed, that we wanted to recognize is the soccer team, the girls' soccer team. So I want to bring Coach Juan Diaz up here. Also, assistant coaches Jackie Castaneda and Maya Valley. So, the soccer team were the NCL1 champions. They were number 9 in the whole North Coast section. It's been about 20 years since our girls' soccer team has won the league. And some of the all-league, I'll just go down the list. We have Isabella Sanchez, Arian Martin, who is all-league, Alex Mendoza, Jewel Becerra, Nora Martin, who was the MVP of the whole league and all-league, Natalie Hernandez, Kate Winter, Delia Siderakis, Maya Collins, Madison Winter, Ava Holman, Annie Gutierrez, Brianna Carrillo, Madison Boudelier, and Alina Diaz, who was also all-league, and Madison was all-league. Did I miss anybody? No. And they also had a lot of academic achievements. Jewel has a 4.0, Natalie has a 3.6, Kate has a 4.0, Madison has a 4.0, and Brianna has a 3.6, and Alina has a 4.0. Their combined GPA is 3.28, and so Coach, you got anything else to say about them?
I wasn't ready for it. I'm actually from Ukiah, and I took a challenge to come and help these girls up here. When I heard they didn't have a coach and they were always struggling to get a coach up here, I'm not saying I'm a good coach, but we accomplished a lot of things in my first year here. And I have to say, every time I will go back home, I'll say, I just love the community up there. Really nice community up here, and hopefully I stay here for at least, I see my freshmen, at least 3-4 more years. But thank you everybody, especially all the parents were great coming to away games, home games. I mean, I have parents coming to say, hey, I never seen so much people at the soccer games before. So that was exciting. So that's all I have to say. Thank you everybody, and good job girls, again. One more thing also, when I came up here, I was looking for help around. Jackie, who's a coach at Mendocino Soccer Academy, she was here all the time when I wasn't have time to get up here on time. She was always here for practices. And also Maya Valley, who she's not here, they were all the time supporting me during the season when I was late or having all other things to do, down in Ukiah. But thank you, Jackie. Good is out there getting came in. It was another one helping. But like I said, thank you for the support to parents, community, and of course the girls that come and work hard to accomplish all this.
Thanks,
This way a little bit.
Scoot in for a picture, board members, you're in it too.
Smile.
Just scoot that way a little bit. Girls on this end, Arian, and have them face this way a little bit. Face this way, and then scoot in a little bit.
They should say Willits Weekly on.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Willits Weekly. Thank you.
Thank you. team your cake.
Thank you.
By the way, we have the golf team.
The golf team, yes.
Golf, come on in.
We're gonna golf.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm trying to, can't see anything. I'm trying to find it. Oh, it's always, yeah. Okay.
Right here.
I'm right there. I'm right there. Oh, there you are. It's not
This is the golf team. Coach Jeff Yoakum, Coach Nolan Jurgensen, and Juliana Aguilar. Brody Bowen, Micaiah Carter, Ezra De La Fuente, Grayson Dukeshire, Torrin Frazier, Cole Lane, Zaid Lopez, Nikolai Richley, Brett Roundtree, and is that it? Did I miss anybody?
That's us.
Okay, good. So yeah, 7-2 this year. They won the pennant last year. Actually, if you go up to the golf course, you'll see a bunch of pennants on the ceiling. But I think it's been a couple years before 2024, so they're back-to-back champions for the North, and they're going to play Monday at the Foxtail in Roanoke Park, and that's the class. Is that the NCS?
NCS Championship.
NCS Championships. They also had over a 3.0 GPA, a couple of 4.0. Zaid's got a 4.0. He's one of the only seniors. Also Torrin 3.6. Grayson's 4.0. But overall, oh yeah, Richie. Did I call your name? Just saw you there, Richie. What's that?
She's a senior.
Oh, Makai's a senior. That's right. I always forget. Anything else, Coach?
Zaire got the what's it called?
Like MVP?
MVP.
Of the league?
He won the league championship, so he'll get the league pennant. Let's see here.
And that's like the score, like the lowest scores compiled.
Yeah, like the lowest average score of all the tournaments.
Yeah.
So we're pretty good.
Cole Lane is our junior here in the middle in the black. He's going to step up next year. He's got a passion for it. Nikolai here is our sophomore, coming back. Richie there as well, coming back next year. Brody Bowen, sophomore. Looking forward to having him back. We had a good year. We're happy for it. These kids really did well.
So I believe there's cake outside to celebrate.
Hold on, take a picture.
Oh, a picture I forgot.
Coaches get it. Board members are in the picture too.
Kneel down.
Nope, you're good.
Leo? Good deal, lady. I got one more, you guys. So, we have one more spring sport, track. And we didn't have a big team this year, but and I don't want to be that dad that tries about his kid, but Leo Marotti, he's 4-time league champion at the long jump. Actually, I got your medal right here. So yesterday we were at the St. Helena for the CMC League Championships, and he jumped 21 feet, 4 inches, 4.5 inches. And so he won it as a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior. He's got the school record in the long jump. He also placed, he's moving on to the Class A championships in the long jump and the triple jump, and the 100 meter he placed 3rd in. So he's moving on to that. He's also been the meet of champions, which is after the Class A. You qualify for meet of champions. He's qualified for that all 3 years so far. So he's moving on to do track as college at Humboldt State.
Let's get a picture with you and your dad.
Yeah.
Board members, smile. Look up.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for the recognition.
So we're taking a 5-minute break, and there's cake out. Right, it's time to restart the meeting. And we're going on with our informational items, and the next informational item is the California Department of Education legal updates. And the California Department of Ed has been sending the district regular legal updates based on things that are happening in Washington. And so I'm going to name them off, but there's copies on the table back there for anybody that wants more information. Because they were too long to read. So anyway, one of them is an update regarding federal COVID relief funds. Another one is further update on Title VI compliance letter. Another one is further updates to FERPA and AB 1955 letter. The next one is update regarding Title VI compliance. And the last one is a further update on Title VI compliance letter 2. So all those are on the table there if you would like to get a copy and read one about them. Or they'd be available online. Okay, moving on to our attendance report. I guess that's you, Mark?
Sure. I don't have anything from my amazing staff, so what are we doing with P2 attendance?
I don't have anything.
Not me, actually, but let's see what attachment, right?
There's an attachment.
Well, P2 attendance is usually every year about this time. There's a report that we usually generate and we talk about, and I'm sure that will be coming really soon to you. But
They already got it in the agenda.
Yeah,
It's attached.
there's an attachment.
The agenda.
It's just a
Do you want my
spreadsheet.
screen? Mark?
sure.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're up, which is always a nice thing. Looks like from years past and now, a little flat in terms of static in P1 enrollment, but we're actually up a bit in P2 enrollment. It's always a good thing because that means we didn't lose as many kids as we have in the past. When I say we're up, it's not a huge increase, but it's enough of an increase. It looks like by 4 students, but still it's better than going backwards by 4. So every year, there's always 3 different areas of enrollment. So you have a P1 enrollment, which is usually around Census Day, which is in the early part of October. There's P2, and then you do your actuals at the very end of the year about who came in at the beginning of the year, who was with us till the end of the year, and then we do ADA based upon that. That's where I'm P2 enrollment. If you want exact numbers, I can give you exact numbers. As of P2 enrollment, we have 1,518 students, 1,518 students, and we're at about 90% attendance, 90 to 91%, which is good. A little bit down from last year, but not a lot. So the chronic absenteeism that's kind of gripping everybody else hasn't really hit us too hard.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Why don't you screen back? Can I just
Sure.
This is really nice. Thank you.
And then the Willits Unified School District, summer programs?
So we're going to have similar summer program we had last year, except we won't be doing anything for the K5 students. We're going to have we're going to continue on with the Cougar Camp. Is that what we're calling it? Cougar Camp? Yes. Cougar Camp that starts the week before, 2 weeks before the school year begins. We're going to be having basically independent type study. Am I explaining that right, Mr. Mansfield? We're running it. Independent study in high school. We'll also be doing some dual enrollment at the high school at Minnesota College. And then Kids Club is doing their thing. So It's a little bit of a three-week circus, but not as,
ESY.
ESY is gonna be at the end of June, and they're gonna take a little bit of a break, and then they're gonna do 2 more weeks in July.
It's all of July.
So
So we're into all of July now.
Well,
So that's what changed.
except for the last week. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're, June 30th to July 28th, and the reason we go to the 28th is to take the 4th of July off.
And the New Western Alliance is doing their thing as well.
We'll all be at Brookside.
Yeah, that'll be all, we're doing everything for them.
And another thing is,
Well, in high school for,
is the summer meal program. Do you want to address that? That's on the same information on the, or I can read off what it
yes,
says.
please read off.
Okay, so June 9th through August 8th at Brookside Elementary School is where the summer meal program is being run from. Breakfast will be from 8 to 9. Lunch is 11 to 12:30, hot lunch on site or bag lunch to go. And it will be closed 6:19 and 7:4. And that's no cost. Okay, so, we will now move on to comments, and I think we're gonna let our, student board representative go first. And so that, she can leave and get on with her senior life here.
Prom is this Saturday, May 10th at the Brook Trails Lodge. Willits High School will be having their ASB convention May 16th, followed by the ASB Carnival later that afternoon. And leadership will be running booths at the car show on May 25th, 2025 to provide info on WHS class leadership.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shayla.
Oh, and then graduation is June 5th.
No.
Yes, there we go.
So what time?
He does.
Show up at 5. Show up at 6.
Yep.
As long as be early. Okay?
I'm a senior and I don't know that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Shayla.
Sharon.
Okay, next we have CSEA comments. Heather?
I first wanted to honor all of our retirees. Just about every one of those ladies has been a coworker of mine for many years. They're mentors, they're inspirational, and I'm honored to call a lot of them friends. So I'm very happy for all of them. As the school year draws to a close, our classified staff is working diligently to support a smooth end-of-the-year operations, including student support, end-of-the-year field trips, and preparations for promotion and graduation ceremonies. Classified employees are deeply involved in ensuring these events and activities are safe, well-organized, and memorable for students and their families. Our maintenance, grounds, and custodial departments are already busy making plans to get our school sites in top shape over the summer for the school year to come. We already touched on it a little bit, so I won't give all the details, but I wanted to thank the district and our food service staff for the amazing summer meals program. I cannot express how much that means to our community. There are many students who rely on school meals to feel full for the day. So to have that over the summer is amazing, and for it to be open to all of the students in our community, regardless of their income and their enrollment with Willits Unified, is just phenomenal. So thank you so much for caring about our community and, of course, our amazing students. This week, we would like to join our colleagues in celebrating Teacher Appreciation Week. So if you're a teacher here, thank you. Our partnership with certificated staff is vital to student success, and we are proud to stand together in our shared commitment to education. We would like to give a huge thank you to our teachers for their collaboration and dedication. This month, we are also proud to recognize our Classified School Employee Week with the theme Trusted, Inclusive, United. This is a time to honor the essential roles our classified staff play in maintaining a safe, supportive, and effective educational environment. It'll be from May 18th to the 24th. And we are proud to honor all of our classified staff, across sites, departments, everywhere. Our classified employees continue to demonstrate unwavering dedication to our students and our schools. We would also like to extend gratitude to our board members for your continued support of all school staff. Together, we look forward to finishing the year strong and celebrating our graduates' accomplishments.
All right, WTA.
Less crowded than here. All right. So, I'll introduce myself again as Brian Bowles, WTA president, and welcome again everybody, and thank you to our coaches, especially for all the effort that they put in helping those kids become star athletes and champions. I know that they put in just a tremendous amount of work, not only making them great technicians, but good humans, and that is what I always strive to do as I teach and coach and lead our WTA. So a couple thank yous. Thank you to April, David, and Jennifer who showed up today to Blosser. I know that Paula and Jeannie were on an interview committee, so I requested that the three of you to come, and you did a great job of not violating any things. Different locations, so I appreciate it, and I appreciate your help. It was a lot of fun. The kids had a great time. I want to thank Margaret Duran, who's here, for being a fabulous leader at that site and helping it run smoothly. We texted at 5:15 this morning, I think, back and forth on a couple of things to make sure that all of our nuts and bolts were in the right spot, so thank you. And I really want to highlight, besides the kids, I really want to highlight Josh Potter and Gustavo, because they are the ones that brought the need of our project to the attention of the wood shop. And so without their stepping forward and asking if it could be done, it would not have happened. So special thanks to Gustavo and Josh, who also were there. They helped trailer it over. Gustavo helped us get everything lined out, the water, etc. And he tried his best not to be photographed, but I got him too. So thank you both for helping with that. The Wolverine CTE woodshop students have done an amazing job. They worked diligently at getting these done by the timeline. There's still a few left over, and it looks like I will say yes to this language about being able to donate one for Sober Grad. So that's all fantastic, and I appreciate that ability to have a conversation that you came, so thank you. And then the teachers, of course, I got text messages from each one, what room to go to, how many kids to send. All those things were all dialed into my phone. All I had to do was look at it, maybe put my glasses on, and the whole thing, I think, went off without a hitch. We enjoyed ham and pineapple pizza at the end of it. And Kevin was our bus driver, so kudos to him for getting us there and back within 3 minutes of our time constraints. Good job, everybody. Let's see here. Teachers in general, and everybody, CSEA, admin, support staff, we are in the last stretch of a marathon right now. Literally, I feel like. And everybody at this time in the marathon is still picking up the pace. And so I feel like we ran a marathon and now we're sprinting at the end. And it shows maybe in our face, but it doesn't show in our enthusiasm or our care for our student population. So thank you. A couple things that we need to talk about, I think, as we draw kind of this change at the end of the year. We've got the counseling positions were flown and were accepted by 2 applicants. Unfortunately, in the process of getting them into their positions, there's a lack of preparation in where they're going to be. So they require a private space. They got there was no private space. One of them spent the first day at the student desk in the main office, which is not an ideal situation, nor a good place to start. So I think that lack of preparation has absolutely cost our students and our site a smooth transition, as well as personnel that we would have been able to keep. So I'm deeply disappointed in that process and really expect that to be tightened up soon. I do get the word that we do have a place for our art teacher. We have a secondary art teacher that got 28 money is funding, and so that is moving forward into a place for them. And it sounds like as of today, there is a temporary place for the 2 positions. We'll be flying the 2nd position moving forward.
feeling the absence of administration in their leadership roles. Absenteeism is affecting the climate of Sanhedrin and the district as a whole. The recent WASP report for Sanhedrin, I recently read, and it's a little bit hard to believe most of it. You should definitely read it and think about last time you were there and maybe check the population of who shows up and who doesn't as you read through that. But on a positive note, we did pass the WASP. I believe there's one person that came to do the WASP walkthrough. Let's see, there's been no conversation of the district's plans with independent study within the district, and I hope that the conversation and or at least an explanation comes to both the district staff members, our teachers, and the people that are going to work in those situations. And probably more importantly, the board members, right? Maybe as importantly. I think that some of these things are being made in vacuum decisions without the input of people that are on the ground doing the work. So I would counsel the administration to be a little bit more proactive with WTA and staff in general. Let's see, our two elementary counselors that we talked about 2 meetings ago requested to join the WTA union. And so we welcome them with open arms, and there's a lot of reasons behind that, one of which was they were unrepresented when their job was on the docket, and so they'll get representation if they are allowed to join. The district has chosen to fight their joining. So we are now heading to a PERB hearing, which the PERB hearing will decide whether or not they are placed in the correct union. So they can be placed in CSEA or WTA, or the other option would be to remain in an unrepresented position, which neither of them desire. I want a quick little discussion about Bright Thinker. We've got a lot of talk about that and how we use it in our district. We're actually going to use it for our summer school program at the high school. And following along, I'm going to give you a synopsis, but I think the best thing to do is to go ask a high school student how they would navigate it, because that's who taught me how to navigate it. And Bright Thinker, you can pull up 2 screens. You can randomly take the tests. It'll grade it. It'll show you all the correct answers. Take a picture of them. And on the second screen, you get 2 chances. You can put all the correct answers in. Done. So that is what we can do as students as far as learning. I highly recommend that all of you do a deep dive into what we're using Bright Thinker for. Yeah, I do not think as an educator it is educating our kids at all. I think it's a very quick rubber stamp. I think it's a way to get to our dashboard, our graduation dashboard, by cheating the system. Because we cheat that system by getting those kids to pass those classes without actually learning. They do in fact graduate, right? And our dashboard looks great because they passed all these classes, but I don't really think they're getting a valuable education. So that's what we're looking into right away, because we're moving into it, which I don't think there's a discussion. I know there wasn't with any of our members in our site in high school about utilizing it for summer school. Let's see. Okay, the last thing probably that's exciting to talk about is maybe a little history. I spoke with a couple of board members, and they really have the history of what's gone on here in our district from a superintendency position. So I thought I'd go backward. So far, we can go way back, but I go back as far as Deb Kubin, but she left, and then Pat Johnson took the reins for 3 years. And she led us into some financial insecurity. She left after the 3 years, and the board hired Mark Westerberg. And he was the opposite. He was incredibly financially
I'm sorry.
That's right. He's incredibly financially responsible to the tune of the district hoarding 36% of the money into the general fund. Mind you, 3% is the legal limit. So the process of doing that over those 5 years is we had a huge exodus of teachers because the difference in pay was astronomical compared to UCI. And so we lost a lot of our tenured quality teachers to UCI. WTA and the district have since solved that problem. We're on par with UCI chose to do a blanket 25% without actually checking to see if the administrative raise made sense compared to that. And that is what actually we left. There's not technically a Me Too clause between CSEA and WTA, but when we did all of our math and all of our research, I was a lead negotiator at the time, we left them in there for them to get the money that they would bring them to Kaya. The first meeting where the board was asked to pass that 25%, administrative costs were added on to the same line item, which is illegal, and asked to pass it. And it was the first time that the administration had actually looked at the research that we had given them to see that the money was actually what we said it was, how far after it came. But fortunately, there was a huge skew in the amount of money that was paid to make people whole financially. So, Mark also convinced the board that it was a good idea to not do as many PE classes at the high school. Not as many physical education courses. He was not a fan of PE as far as the number of classes you take. State law actually is all 4 years.
Right.
There's a waiver, of course. We use the waiver, which brings us down to 2. Most of our students at the time were doing only 1, but if they played sports, they could waive that. They were waiving that too, and not necessarily taking PE. Let's see, all kinds of fun that happened back then. Oh, during his tenure, we had a retired counselor. And instead of re-flying that position, Mark Westerberg dropped that position, and in lieu of that position, brought in one of our 2 counselors we have today, but created their own salary schedule for them, which of course took them out of our unit, which is why we think it's an obvious no-brainer to bring them back into our unit. So the same job description, same location, same everything, different salary schedule. I was not on the negotiating team at that time. He was also heading to PERG his last year, the district will, I should say, but he brought us there because he convinced the board that no one would ever bring the district to PERG. So we formed a complaint because he had not paid our members correctly during the COVID crisis. And so he left, went to Minnesota, and he brought the next member, our next superintendent came in was Joe Aldridge. Oh, before I say that, during Mark's tenure, the district got our first letter of non-compliance. It was that last and final year he was here. We had problems with our Caucasian kids being mislabeled with ED. We were definitely not doing enough PE units. We had issues with our ELD program. Those 3 things were the big slap on the wrists. During Joe's first year, he got our second letter, where we were still not following through on what we were supposed to be doing. And he left after 1 year, he went to Fort Bragg. Within that first 3 months, though, WTA and Joe discussed what was going on with the PERB hearing. He agreed that we were going to win the PERB hearing, and we settled an appropriate amount, and we moved forward. At the end of Joe's tenure, there was a proposed assistant superintendent position. By the way, there is no other assistant superintendent in any other school in this county or Lake County, nor does Ukiah have an assistant superintendent. For those reasons, we challenged it at the May board meeting and this board meeting at that time. And the board just agreed that it was not necessary. The following meeting, which was 2 weeks later, I was on a rafting trip with Alex Golds, who was one of the board members at the time. So there's 4 members. Board President Robert Chavez brought it back to the table. And despite agreeing to then President Brendan Ludwig to not fly it, it was flown that summer. That was the same day Mark Beebe got his job with the district. And later that summer, Aurora Chavez was hired for the position. The board agreed that it should be a 2-year job. And the goal would be to right the wrongs of Mark Westerberg's So that brings us to now. And I absolutely care about this district. And I feel like we need to do a really tight job of finding the right person for these administrative jobs that we're searching for. We're currently without one at the middle school. And I hope that our board takes a more active role in learning what's going on in our district, of learning what kind of education things like Bright Thinker do or do not do for our students. And I would like to see more of what we did today with our board members, because I feel like that is what really gets the kids to appreciate going to school. Every one of my high school kids were ecstatic when on the bus. Every single one of I can't speak to the kids, I'll be talking to the elementary school teachers tonight about how it went on their end. But we had the full spectrum of our represented kids from both sites, both myself and the teachers there, with extra effort into making sure it was a unique population and a representative population of our kids. So moving forward is please take the time to understand what I'm saying and make sure that you understand the perspectives of all of our constituents in our district. The voices you hear may not always be the true voices of our district.
All right, Superintendent Bennett?
Thanks, President King. I want to first off, tell all of our teachers that I'm not really a big fan of like the special days. And I know there's like 380 days a year. Some are ice cream breakfast days. And, it always bothers me a little bit that we're going to like say this is the teacher week. We need to do. Hopefully, we're doing a pretty good job of every 36 weeks and 183 days, validating teachers' efforts and CSEA's efforts and our students' efforts. So this has been the National Teachers Week. So our teachers do a phenomenal job on a daily basis. This is not an easy gig. Never has been, and everybody else in this support for that. So for all of our teachers in the room today, great job. Brian's right. This is always a very difficult time of year. May's rough. You just spend 8 months doing running as fast as you can, and then you get to a month where it seems like everything accelerates twice as fast. With not only the fun stuff, but also just tidying up the year. And again, we're in the final stretch. One nice thing about May is it's filled with great weather. At the high school level, you have students that are, many students, or certainly 25% of them are moving on to the adult world. One thing I've always liked about this time of year is that it's filled with beginnings and endings, and then beginnings again. And that's always a lot of fun to see, especially as our students get through their, well, I guess 13 years, but now 14 years potentially from TK to 12, as they move on with their roles in their lives. And everybody else is going to move up a level. So that cycle is always a lot of fun to watch. And they get excited, scared, but excited. I look forward to all the events of the year. As I've mentioned in the past 6 months have been extremely difficult on my wife. I talked about this a little bit 2 months ago. My wife is battling stage 4 ovarian cancer. And she is in a course, 6-month course of chemotherapy. And we just finished, she finished her 4th infusion last week. It's been really hard on the district. I've been gone during these weeks. Our staff, especially my leadership team, the DO, has really rallied and done the absolute best job they can. Aurora's filled in, marvelously, and she stepped into that role. So thank you. But thank you to my DO team for really handling us. Thank you to the board for that. My wife is battling. She's battling. The jury's out. And so we're going to have to see where this goes. And this came out of nowhere. I think I might have mentioned a couple months ago that, pretty major surgery on Christmas Eve. And we've been doing this for the last 5 months, and we've still got 2 more months to go. And then after that, we've got targeted radiation from July to December. So with that being said, I have made a decision that this is my last year. And I will be not how I wanted to kind of roll out, but it has been my humble and honor to lead this district, TK Girls District. Certainly 33 years ago when I was just a basketball coach and an English teacher, I never thought that I would be in charge of a district for a $27 million budget, leading roughly 275 people. So it is certainly a culmination. I have no idea what I'm going to do. I'm old enough to retire. I'm still got a little bit enough salt and juice in me to maybe do something a little bit else. I haven't decided yet. I'm hoping to find some 0.5 English online right digger job. That will be that will take me to. But my wife lives in Roseville, you know, so whatever is going to go on in Roseville, and so we may end up there. But that's where all the medical stuff is for us right now. So that's where we're going to be, at least for the next year or so. We've got another 5 years of scans, and anybody who's gone through cancer and knows about this process, it is something to kind of go through. And I'm humbled to be my wife's caregiver at this particular time. But she is stout and she is strong. And the people that work in that world are just like our teachers. They're just absolute angels. It's phenomenal, the work that they do. I'll talk a little bit more in our second June meeting. I tried really hard to kind of coordinate the times of the board meetings, but I just haven't been very lucky with them, so I apologize for being gone. That's where we're at. We will talk about flying the position as of tomorrow. I will work with Amy Adams, and we will get that on the books and get that flown as quickly as possible to attract as many candidates to Willits as possible. So, however, you know, obviously I'm partial to the fact that we have somebody that knows the stitch you're getting out, so I would definitely throw my full weight behind Aurora. Hopefully that counts for something. So, that's where I'm at. Those are my comments. So, thank you all. It's been a pleasure. Go Warriors.
All right, we're ready for
Keep
board,
waiting for them to call. They not call.
ready for board comments, and then we'll start with Paul this time.
Okay. Well, some of this stuff wasn't on my paper, so, I don't think you have anything to apologize for, and I think it's kind of unfortunate, you know, I have to break in and make signatures now, that bothers me. Other than that.
Well, Brian with the history, you know, you get some practice.
I know, it's true.
You know,
I'm older by tons than he is, 10 was here.
I know 2 of them.
Yeah, well, shoot, well, we won't go there. Anyway, so, also, I really do thank you, Brian. You were very, very thorough. I really do remember those meetings really well. And I, as all of you probably already know, was real disappointed to see how the administration came at the last minute, and it did skew the way the budget was set up to go. However, I've always been a firm believer in 3% is plenty, and that's exactly what we've got going. So good, thank you very much. I do naturally honor and appreciate teachers. You know, I did that for so many years, and I'd never ever be able to turn my back on it. The big deal is also with CSEA, and any classified staff, it's hard work to stay here in this district or any other, frankly, and y'all do well to do that. You know, it's that continuity that makes our community get through a lot of the hard times and just continue to function, regardless of how they handle that. I was real pleased that some of the gossip seems to have slowed down a little. I really think that your right to say what you think is an excellent right. That's what we all call freedom of speech. But I get real disappointed when people forget that the flip side to that is taking ownership of what you say and having the ability to come to the ones you want to talk to and say it to their face, or as close to their face as you can get, instead of what often happens. You can always feel brave when you don't have to look at someone and you're saying the things you know will be hurtful or maybe even incorrect. Lately, there's been a lot of incorrects, but there have also been a lot of things that were true if you took the time to study them or understand someone else's perspective. And I think that's a real important issue. But I'm glad to see it seems to be slowing down, either because no one responds to it as much as they used to, or because they just realized it's not really that helpful. I'm a little concerned with, I'm sorry. We'll finish all the good news first. Thanks to the retirees, it's tough sometimes to stay at a job for years and years and years and years, and there's a big gap when you go. And so, not that we have a bunch of retirees right now, but still, they've really played an important part. I also owe apologies to Brookside, that's who passed the word. I wasn't able to make it to their open house. In truth, part of it was when I get 1 day's notice for something, it's really difficult for me to come across, especially when I know it should have been on a calendar and I should have seen a poster. There is redemption, however, especially for anyone who didn't make it. You can always go to Sherwood tomorrow night, and they're going to do their standard really nice dinner, etc. You know, and it's always beautiful out there, especially when the weather looks like it looked today, and it's a good thing for you. I've heard some outstanding news about some of the clubs that go on. In particular, at the high school, I was amazed to see pictures of over 20 kids in a hiking club. Obviously, I'm not into hiking, but it was really great for those kids. It's such blatant enthusiasm. I mean, it's like they can't get enough, and that's a really good deal, especially when you're between the years I figure are really difficult, okay? So they can still smile, they can still skip rocks, which I haven't seen since 8-year-olds, but this was really cool, and they were good at it. I mean, it was a big deal. So thanks goes to all those teachers, some even more, because they do get so involved in 3 or 4 or 5 things, and it's like, the joke is kind of, did you put your kids there and your wife or husband so that you could see them once in a while too? It's a big deal, it's very time-consuming. Okay, and to end, I have some real concerns over what goes on in the summer at each site. I understood that these things were kind of set up by the 30th of May. I'm learning from 2 sites at least, and I believe all 4 or 5 of them, that there aren't lists being prepared that say, we have these rooms full, and these rooms need to be cleaned, and these rooms need to have furniture moved from one end to the other to the other. And I know that this last year, before school started, we had a whole lot of moving a desk to this room and then changing the mind and moving it to another one and then going to a class and saying, this is going to be your class, and then finding out, oh, well, we have no flooring there yet. Just wait, go to the one next door. There's a lot of that. It's not that difficult, and I say that having been in the position before to make those charts and, well, we use little stickies on a square graph-looking whiteboard. But anyway, you move them around until they make sense, and then you set them up, because nothing is more annoying than the last 2 weeks of summer vacation, so to speak, when nearly every teacher comes back to school to set things up. You're saying, oh, no, I can't help you move those things. I'm over here moving this one table so that the teacher comes to this room will have one for her students. They show up in 10 days. It's only a matter of scheduling and planning, and it's not that difficult. You need to make it a priority. There will be tweaks, everything is. But those things, it's almost like master scheduling for kids. It needs to be set up. Anyway, I hope that happens a little better than it's done in the past, in particular this last year. I'm hearing about the high school prank, and I understood that sort of stopped, but apparently it hasn't come to a complete halt. And so I'm hoping that gets kind of settled. Last year there were a lot of issues about how to clean up, what is it called, glitter and water all over a floor. You know, in the old days, when you teach little children, you do a lot of glitter and you tell them not to drop water, but hey. And then when they do, it's an hour to clean up around one desk. And that was one classroom. Imagine if I were a custodian or anybody else. You need to remember that little bit of respect goes a really long way. And if you know you're going to do that, you put down paper. If you're going to do a prank, make sure it's ping pong balls in a pool, and all they have to do is gather them up with the net, no foul, no pain, no nothing. But when you make them dangerous, that's not a plus. And then I'm looking forward to find out what's happening in summer school, since somehow I got off the list. I don't know, but I'll be real glad to hear what goes on there. And just for everybody who knows about all the interviewing that's going on and will continue to go on, rest assured, we've learned of some of the teams who are doing those jobs. It's one you can trust, hopefully. There are a lot of varied opinions, but I would imagine that's exactly what you want. And this way, you'll get a good crop of people. We used to say in this district that, oh, no one will apply in Willits. That's not the truth. You know, I wasn't sure it was the truth in the past, but I'm certain it's not the truth now. So just relax, and we are going to be, if you haven't thought we were already, as absolutely transparent as really can be. It's not okay to play the game any other way. You're all, you know, it's like you already took your step forward. No one with a brain takes 3 steps back. Okay, and we're brilliant word education. Is my time up?
No, I was saying kangaroos take steps back.
Kangaroos do?
Go back.
See what I learned? Very
Singing
much.
kangaroos.
Yeah, I'm sure you would. You know, that's violence. But anyway, okay. Well, you know, kangaroos punch. Okay, thank you very much.
I don't know if anybody has seen, I've gone by Gloucester, their new playground is amazing. Going in a little quicker than expected. The kids are so excited. I've gone by there, I'm excited because the playground I took down, I played on when I was in Gloucester. Also, like Miss Convery, she was my yard duty, so not seeing her there makes me sad because she was amazing, always has been. Just appreciate everything she's done for the district. I was able to be a part of the JP softball team. They did a fundraiser the other night. They did a movie on the field. We did concessions. They raised just over $700 to go towards renovating the dugout for the girls softball team, which needs a lot of work. So it was super cool to hang out. I got back from Vegas and hung out at the baseball field until like 9:30. It was freezing, but we had a very good turnout. We watched The Sandlot and everybody hung out on the baseball field. It was super fun. Thank you to Mr. Bolts for inviting me to come over. It was nice. I got to hang out with some of the maintenance people today. They showed me around, showed me some of the projects around the high school, the pergolas that are being built by Mr. Peterson's class. They are gorgeous. I can't wait to see that project finish. The planter box benches that Mr. Bolt's class made are beautiful. They are absolutely stunning. You should be super proud of your students. Your students should be proud. I was honored to be a part of that today. It was awesome digging in the dirt with the kids. It was nice that they all got to do it together. They were excited about the popcorn afterwards. So thank you. I really appreciate that. It was a lot. I'm on a couple weeks' notice. We're finishing up Sober Grad, so I'm pretty busy. So again, thank you for donating one of those benches for our raffle that's going to be held at Comedy for a Cause in Ukiah. That brings a pretty big chunk in for our seniors. So if you guys want to go, it's out there. But other than that, I'm just looking forward to the end of the year and trying to tidy everything up. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, how about you? You go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, last month, I had an opportunity to visit a few campuses. Actually, just last week, at the high school, had actually a nice long conversation with Mr. Toplinski about a few things, but also discussing the master schedule. Which again, the construction of the master schedule is something where again, it's like, I've been, part of the cog in that, in that machine for a long time. I didn't really appreciate, just the complexity of the process. And realizing that again, for it to happen properly, you need a lot of input from not just the principal, not just the counselors, but also teachers. And not just teachers from your site, but teachers from the other schools that feed into your school. And really making that work is something that I've come to really appreciate more than I have before. Also, I got the chance to have sort of an exit interview with Chris Kinney. Originally wasn't going to be an exit interview, but between the time I actually made the appointment to see him and I got to see him, he already decided to move on basically what he thinks he's improved in the time that he's been with us, but also kind of like where he kind of feels that we still need some, some improvement as far as, programs at Bechtel Grove. And I'm also, I'm gonna be part of the interviews, the second round, so I'm glad to say that I had a chance to kind of get his input before I'm part of that, which was enjoyable, and valuable. Also, again, since it's Teacher Appreciation Week, is it week, month, day?
Week and then week off.
Year.
Yeah, classified.
Okay. Yeah, but again, it should be longer, but, again, I mean, one of the things I can appreciate is as a district, again, it's not, I was a teacher, but, again, classified, admin, it's the whole thing, it takes a village to blah, 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 blah. It takes a bunch of different, it takes more than teachers to make a district. And I appreciate the fact that, we have a lot of very talented people in all capacities in the district, which is one of the reasons that I think we're kind of punching above our weight, at least I think we are. And lastly, again, I also want to say, I also was part of the, I didn't actually get my hands dirty, but I had to observe other people working hard to make little planter benches. That was great, and actually, we were discussing nails earlier, if you want, I have cleaner nails and, which is fun. But, how about it?
Thank you. Jennifer?
There's been a bunch of stuff going on. I worked with Child Protective Services for 28 years. I had a bilingual caseload. I dealt with people that were in Mexico and families and parents that got deported because they were running drugs and getting kids back to where they belong. That allowed me to experience working with our sister agency in Mexico City or in different states, because every town has its own president and they have a social worker, so they would do evaluations of families and homes and incomes and their ability to care for kids or not. And when that was necessary, we were able to get them back home rather than having them living here by themselves, being alone and in foster care. I bring this up because with all of the things going on right now and all the problems or potential problems with immigration, it puts a lot of our families at risk, and it puts our kids at risk of not having anybody to be able to take care of them. And so I've been working, Aurora and I went to a meeting at Nuestra Alianza at one point, and I've continued talking with Sergio, who's the head of it, and he's willing, in terms of updating who we can release children to, he's willing to work with the Hispanic families because they have greater trust with the families than other people necessarily do. And to find out where the children, or who the children can be released to, whether it's here or somewhere else. And I also reached out to Child Protective Services because it has to go through a court system if necessary. And we've got their cooperation as well. And I had experience on a case that I had in the past where we had a little girl that was left here. She was 4 years old. She was living, I say here, it's between here and Bakersfield because that's where I live. She was left with an aunt and uncle who even, they loved her very much, but she had been raised in part by her grandparents in Mexico City. And so we were able to get the paperwork and an ID card that got her through customs. And her uncle, we paid for his airfare to go down and for him to come back. And she was with her family there. She was happy and she belonged. So working on that whole kind of a picture, it's something that I really love working with that kind of stuff, and I'm good at it. So I bring that knowledge to the district. So that was one piece of it. And then the other stuff, I am so tickled that I got called today to go over to Lesser Lane. And I got to observe a totally different side of Mr. Bolt. And that was the man who sat there with these little kids around him, talking, pointing at the leaves, going, what are the leaves? Leaves? Good. And what are these white things? Roots. And minutes, half an hour, talking with these kids and this very gentle human being that I got to see for the very first time, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Other than that, looking forward to us coming to the end of the school year and having a couple months that I can just work in my garden. So, thank you all, and I love being able to work with you. And some of the stuff that you mentioned, I would like to follow up on. So, thank you.
Thank you. So, I have some really exciting news. I ran into Chris and Lenore Hansen at the farmers market this afternoon, and they're long-term educators within the Willits Unified School District, and their son, Jay, was hired as a special ed teacher at Blosser, but because of serious illness, he wasn't able to continue, and he's been on dialysis, but he received a kidney transplant this week. So that's very exciting, and I thought that the district would like to know that.
Thank you.
And I was in the hallway at the high school the other day, and there was a display on one of the bulletin boards about senior reflections, and I was looking at them and reading them, and there was pictures of the seniors, and plus there was a little write-up, and each write-up had a few sentences about what their plans were when they graduated. And one of them just warmed my heart. His mother, Heather, is here, and but Alexander, I was reading what it said, and it said that he wanted to become an elementary teacher. That was his plan. And Brandon Ludwig has he takes a group of high school students over to read to Brookside students every day. And his mom was telling me that that really inspired him to want to become an elementary teacher. So anyway, I was really excited about it. There's no other job that I can think of in the world that that is so impactful on the future than teaching. And that includes being a paraprofessional, and anything to do with the schools. It has, it really impacts the future. Anyway, I was really excited about that. And I am also excited about the Blosser Playground, which I got to see, and I attended the Brookside Open House, which I was really excited to do. And I'm not going to be able to attend Blosser because I'm going to be gone camping next week. And I also want to say to Mark that I'm going to miss Mark tremendously. He's been a great person to deal with as superintendent. I've worked under 3 superintendents. And Mark and I don't always agree. We've had significant disagreements at times, but we have a wonderful conversation even when we're disagreeing. And we listen to each other. And I'm going to miss his presence in the school district very much. And I wish he and his wife the best. So.
Thank you.
And that's it. And so then we move on to
Public comment.
public comments. And again, public comments are restricted to 3 minutes each. Do you have something? No? No public comments today?
Can I say one thing from my seat?
Sure.
The Little Mermaid play at the high school is the 16th, 17th, and 18th.
Yes.
One of my children has been working very hard, so she's water.
Princess.
Yes.
No, that's a big role. It's a big role. It's in every scene.
Longest line,
right?
She's a princess too, but.
Oh, that's cute.
I wanted to say in terms of that, the costumes for this thing are going to be phenomenal.
And they were done by one of our special ed teachers,
Oh.
Diane Bruns.
Oh, wow.
And I started helping her, and it's been so long since I had been doing something like that, that I got through some of it.
but I went ahead and I gifted the school district with a sewing machine, a new one, so that now she was able to take over.
Okay, anything else on public comments? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. So items on the consent agenda are approved in one motion. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'm to approve the consent agenda as we see it. Yes.
I will second.
Okay. All those in favor, or are there any comments about the consent agenda?
No, thank you, I understand it this time.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, action item, we have approval of, resolution 2024-2025-4, California Multiple Award Schedule Contract. That has to do with installing cameras as part of the security system. So, do I have a motion to approve the resolution? I think we have to do it, since it's a resolution, we have to do it board member by board member. Paul?
You have to get a motion.
Yeah, we have to.
So can we have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of district-wide security system cameras using the California Multiple Award Schedule CMAS contract?
Okay, I move that we approve a resolution to approve the California Multiple Award Schedule contract for the security cameras.
Do I hear a second?
I second.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes,
So
I figured.
you will. Can't go two of these without saying something. So this is for buses? Is that what I'm to understand? Or is it all
I'll
these
start.
other numbers?
So the district is looking at using bond funds to upgrade our entire camera system. There are multiple ways, so we're not bringing the camera system purchase for approval, but we are asking that we use the approval process by going through the CMAS. It's a state awarded contract versus having to go out to bid, so.
It's a procurement process that actually will benefit the district financially. When we go through this vendor through CMAS, because they have to go through a process to be approved through the state. So by using this vendor under CMAS, then we get the best possible fair price. So that's basically what that
To
is.
reinstall, to modify, or to what? To the security system?
To replace and install. Mhm.
So when you replace and install, the only thing you do, not only, but the big takeaway, more or less, is that everything is gonna be upgraded,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
But the same people will still have access and the same rules are still gonna apply?
Yes. Mhm.
I'm not a fan of the rules in the system right now.
Any other
But,
comments
okay.
or questions?
Ask away.
Well, you know, what concerns me is, even if you have all this done, that still leaves room for going back in, redoing a policy on how they should be taken care of and everything else,
What does
right?
it do?
It doesn't, it is strictly a matter of,
This is hardware installation, and Ms. Maples tried to describe it, but going through this particular state vendor agency, it eliminates us having to get 32 bids from different companies.
Yes.
All over the world or the nation to come in and give us bids. We now can go through just this particular warehouse of potential companies that the state has already vetted.
so it's kind of like they're a broker and they'll find us the best
The
deal?
state, yeah, I know, we can go to the best particular deal, and we don't have to worry about warranties. These are long-standing companies within the state warehouse,
So we do job descriptions, and we're assured that there won't be anybody filling them, and then all of a sudden they're filled, and this sounded exactly the same, and I was concerned.
Company, so it's platform warehouse that vendors go into, they have to be approved. You have to be a company for a while.
Yeah. Oh, okay. They're like a broker, I understand. Okay, thanks.
So I think I have to do this as a roll call, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, Ms. Stickney?
Aye.
Mr. Lookwood?
Aye.
Ms. Lambert? Mrs. Yes?
Aye.
Yeah? Aye. Any noes? Or no abstentions? Okay, the next, the next is also a resolution, and it's approval of Resolution 2024-2025-5, urging the California Department of Education to fulfill its obligations under Senate Bill 1315. And do I hear a motion to approve this resolution?
I move that we approve the resolution 2024-25-5, urging the California Department of Education to fulfill its obligations under Senate Bill 1315. It was great reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion?
Is this something most all districts are doing, and they expect it to go in like a push and have a change from what we're currently looking at, which is that it's a little bit slow?
My understanding was basically it was kind of just a wish to tell the state of California that their obligations to small school districts should be met.
Yeah,
And it was just kind of like.
just like we're paying attention, so let's get on with it, or?
I don't think it's more than that.
Oh, okay.
I got the feeling that it was a little bit more than that. It's kind of saying, this is what you need to do, stand up and do your job. kind of thing.
And are we doing it as kind of a collective throughout the state, or is this just the brilliance of Willits putting it on the?
It's from the Small School Districts Association.
I'll take full credit for that.
Do you?
That's the largest last.
You can go that way. No, this is being driven by SSBA.
Oh, okay.
And 60% of California is what we consider like a small school district. It's- Small schools in California are typically under 7,000, 8,000 students. Okay, so this is a big push by that particular organization to say, we'd like to sit at basically the adult table at Thanksgiving. That's pretty much how you kind of look at this. We're tired of being at the kids' table.
Well, on the agenda, there's a really good write-up from them that explains it, if you wanna read about it.
Next time I'll try to find it.
Well, the actual resolution is actually pretty.
It's very.
Yeah, I wanted to know how much power was behind it, but I understand, yeah, that's exactly what I'm understanding. Okay.
If I may, I just add that the power behind it is that you are all voted into your positions, and so you represent us all. And then as a voice for our community, are amplified because of your position. And so if everybody here in the room sent the letter, that's one thing as individuals, but you as a collective, which represents a collective, is a much larger voice without having to solicit so many actual letters.
Okay, so we take a vote. Ms. Sippy?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Mrs. Lambert?
Aye.
Aye. And aye. Okay, the last thing on our agenda is a discussion item on tenured status.
Okay,
Well,
so I
this was
asked for that, yeah. And my concern was that there seems to be in the district well, I only checked on 2 sites, but there are like 4 or 5, so I imagine it might be in another couple of sites as well. A confusion on when someone is granted tenure. Okay, now I have asked around, but they don't exactly match each other, the information that I've gotten, which is, always my biggest problem. And I'd like to have for sure a real straight understanding of when people start their tenure. My understanding was as soon as they became probationary, and and they couldn't become probationary until they had a full, a partial or whatever, but preliminary contract, thank you. Credential, well, they're all the same beginning sentence. The thing that bothers me is that some people think they're on a probationary tract, even though they haven't finished their credential yet. And other people think that if it takes them 3 years to get a credential, they don't start probationary until year 4. But others are thinking they're starting it on year 2. And to become probationary, which means at the end of 3 years in a district, you are tenured, as opposed to 4 years or 5 years in a district, depending upon how long it takes you to get that preliminary credential. And so I want the answer written in blood and sent to me, so it matches everyone else I talked to.
Well, and even with the preliminary credential, it's not cleared yet. With the preliminary credential, you have to go through 2 years, I don't know if they call it induction anymore, but through induction to get it cleared.
Okay.
And then a cleared credential from the state is saying,
From now on, you owe only, 4 units every 6 years or whatever to cumulative value.
You don't have to do units, you just have to pay money.
Yeah.
To get
Oh, they
that.
strictly won't.
Yeah.
How
I wish it was
transparent of them. Good. Okay.
Paul, is your question, let me try to tighten it up. Is it, once you have your credential, preliminary, is that when your probationary period starts? Is that your question?
Now, see, that's what I meant, yeah, that is my question.
Okay,
And
so that's your
the
question.
gray area has to do with when do you have a preliminary credential? Well, is it when you're being an intern or whatever for a year? I mean, you're not really credentialed, but it's like old-time student teaching, and instead of being a student teacher, you're a paid teacher. But they'll let you like double dip what that is.
You don't get a preliminary credential until the state gives you.
Okay, and so how long, when we put people on PIPs and STIPs and all the other letters, when do they finish and then start, is that when they finish those letters and then they become
Well, they have to be
preliminary?
in a program in order to go through that process to get a preliminary credential.
Right.
You don't get a preliminary credential until you give the money, $55 or what is it now?
120.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
120? So you don't get a preliminary credential until the state gives you. And you don't get that until you come to some type of program, whatever it is, some type of college.
And
to get
taking the
credential.
final
Yeah,
test.
and come out the other side.
Yeah,
And
they call
come
it,
out the other side.
there's certain,
The
tests now.
CVESTs or whatever. they
Well, there's other
call
things now
that
too.
anymore.
Things have changed quite a bit since we were in school.
Easy, I know. But the idea has to be the same or similar.
No, it's not the same.
Sadly, not sadly, I agree with Mark, it is not the same right now.
It's not even close to being.
I think the real gray area for all of us in education, especially in the lower end where we're getting hired without having a credential, is
Exactly.
we can do an internship, we can do a PIP, we can do a STIP. Those are 3 things that are not preliminary
Yeah.
credentials. Those are granted by the board.
Waivers.
Those are waivers basically, right? And it's true to they're at a district site.
County.
Correct. I think your question is, let's say I've done all those 3, and I've finished a credential program in those 3 years that it took me to do it. Is my first year of probation my 4th year?
That's pretty much it. People are telling
That's-
me that theirs is their 3rd year. That during their internship, thanks, just say it for me. They are starting their probationary track. And they expect that the next year, should they get through it, they are tenured.
In their 2nd year of waiting tenure.
Yes.
So it started their 3rd year.
So it starts on their 3rd year, not on their 4th, which is what I thought that you started on.
So the clarifier I would give is it's depending on what emergency credentials the board grants to them.
Right.
So, because they could get a year, they could do a credential in a year and be done. And then the 2nd year, they would start their probationary because they would have their preliminary credential. So that would be year 1 of probationary, year 2 of probationary, they would be done tenured. In that circumstance, it would be a 4-year, the 4th year would be tenured. If they decided to do a 2-year program, or it took them a year to get in a program, year 1, year 2 doesn't count for anything towards probationary otherwise, because it's only an emergency credential is granted by the board, and as Mark said, the county. So the first year that they have the credential is when the clock starts. Probationary tenure.
So it's different per person, it's not like a blanket
Correct.
answer of.
Correct.
So you probably are hearing different answers from different people, because it's different.
Yeah.
So then, if you were one who started in Willits with a PIP, and after a year of being a PIP, where you needed 2 years, you were in a 2-year program, you did one of them, it was decided that you weren't gonna stay. Can you go to Ukiah or wherever else and start over?
You have to.
Right, but I understood you couldn't.
From a trying to get tenure, you're automatically.
Naturally, that starts
Yeah.
over. But are you even allowed to transfer those PIPs and STIPs? My understanding is that you can't.
You cannot.
So if you're not successful in one district, you don't get to go to another district and.
I would say there's an asterisk on that within the county probably,
Oh,
right? So if I start 1 year and I get a non-reelect, for instance,
Uh-huh.
right? Usually the county will work with that person if they get a job somewhere else within the county.
Hard to fill areas too, possibly maybe special education. Like Brian was talking about an asterisk, I mean, there's county from county, and they're not always the same. I mean, you're talking about staying in the same county, but you could go to Lake County and probably, if they need somebody in a particular area, there's ways for the county to figure out a way to get you to a district that they want, especially in our current reality of not always having people in certain subject areas.
But that is an emergency credential. he's talking
Those are
about.
emergencies.
But those are emergencies, but they can call whatever they want, depending on the county. Mendocino County doesn't rule the other 51 counties.
So it's not
just 'cause
state
No, it's,
rule.
I mean, but there is state rules coming out of the CTC,
Mhm.
but even they are having to adjust to the flexibility. They're trying to get their hands wrapped around it, and they're failing.
Okay, that's, okay.
And they're actually making more barriers in the
Oh.
way that teachers coming out in the truth than I think they should be, but I don't want to be CTC. You can't even deal with the CTC. Good luck with that.
Okay, all right, then, thanks, I
It's
am
not
more
clear.
clear.
It's not clear. It's not
So do
clear.
any board members have any items for the next regular board agenda? Okay, so do I hear a motion to adjourn? All right, all in favor? Aye. So our regular meeting is adjourned at 6:45.